Welcome to the Trust Factor Radio, bringing you interviews and insights to unlock the power of the subconscious mind to create authority, credibility, and trust. With your host, the Authority Architect, and best-selling author, Neil Howe.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is your host, Neil Howe, and today my special guest is Lou Amico. He is the president of L.A. Management Company. And L.A. Management Company is a strategic marketing firm that develops integrated strategies to build long-term business success for their clients. Their area of expertise includes strategic marketing, website development, internet marketing, email marketing, paid online marketing, social media management, and video production. And I'm very interested to talk to Lou today and find out all his years of experience, what he has done in the industry. So welcome, Lou Amico.
Well, thank you, Neil. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been in the marketing industry for quite some time. Tell us what you've done and how LA Management came about.
Sure. Well, I've always been running companies. I started very young, managing cosmetic surgery offices, and along the way, I got involved in the marketing side of things. And it's been an interesting and evolving experience because originally everything was newspapers, and then we evolved into radio and TV, and for a while, I was producing a lot of infomercial programs, and that was very successful back in the 90s. And then, of course, the internet comes along, and I started to develop websites and e-commerce for my employer. Eventually, I moved over to the video production side. The company that I used to do the infomercials with asked me to come on board as president. So I was there for a couple of years up in New York. And then 9/11 happened, and it was time to kind of reflect on what we wanted to do in the future. And I had property on beautiful Lake Norman in North Carolina, just a little north of Charlotte. So in 2003, I did a business tour. I realized Charlotte was a fantastic business market, very accepting, and we made the bold move of coming down here, and we started the company. And so for the past 15 years, it's been a great ride.
Excellent. Well, Charlotte is a great city. It's not a small city by any means. It's not the Big Apple or anything, but there's definitely a lot of good stuff going on in Charlotte. So talk to me about LA Management Company and the kind of clients that you serve there.
Sure. Well, again, we kind of evolved. We were doing more multimedia at first, developing CD-ROMs for companies that had video and interactive programs that would link to the website, had PDFs on it, because you couldn't deliver rich media. Eventually that changed, of course, and we started to develop websites. And in that process, the clients started to ask me about how do I get onto page one. And at first, honestly, I didn't have an answer. So I buried myself in SEO strategies, and we had a lot of immediate success. Also, people that I was associated from the medical fields kind of found me. And the next thing I knew, I was doing websites for them, for their clients. And today, probably the majority of our clients are cosmetic surgery, plastic surgery, medical spas, even though we deal with lots of other types of industry. That's certainly our sweet spot and where we've had tremendous success over the years.
Very good. It's nice to be known within an industry for being the go-to company to do the marketing for them. So tell me what kind of issues a cosmetic plastic surgeon would have as far as their digital marketing strategy that you help with.
Sure. Well, certain challenges on the internet are always the same. And, what's evolved a little bit, I'm going to segue a little here. We were successful for most of our clients being able to get them organically on page one for their services, which is what everybody wants. It, of course, involves more than that because search is deep and long tail phrases and other terms become important. And again, we were able to organically, using common sense approaches, get our clients in good position. But then Google, in their infinite wisdom, decided to change the platform. It makes sense from their standpoint because of the mobile transition. But what's occurred because of the way they've realigned AdWords or ads on their browsers, they become stacked now, so it fits into that mobile configuration. That has forced pages that were number one on Google sometimes are number 8, especially on a phone. And so doing pay-per-click or AdWords campaigns has become almost a necessity for all my clients, even the ones that are very, very well positioned organically.
Well, that is, a big shift to, obviously everything is moving to mobile now and it's not going to slow down. But to go from, that number one organic position to a number 8 on a mobile phone is, can have a big impact for the business. How important now is the map area, which, comes not number 1, but it's, below those paid ads?
Exactly. Local is bigger than ever. And it is a little bit tougher area to compete because the map shows up based on geography, on distance, from what you're looking from or from where you are. So Google has really kind of put a heavy weight into that so that when we see the search, let's say it's restaurants by me or, a supermarket by me or gas station near me. These phrases are very effective because Google has impacted that the maps and location is a big factor in search. And that really was the case in organic anyway, but it's become even more profound. So being on the maps is important. And then, of course, if you're on the map, you got to have reviews and you want to show as many 5-star reviews as possible. And so reviews is another area that's dramatically changed the marketing landscape.
Is there any way around about that problem of the geolocation? Is there any way a local business can rank for a whole city rather than just, where their brick and mortar might be?
It really depends on the market and the type of business it is. If you're an office furniture company, you can show it pretty well. If you're a pizza place or a landscaper, those opportunities are really a challenge. And you're probably going to have to start looking at AdWords as an alternative to be able to overcome that because Google's not going to let you.
So what is important from that local perspective to include on the business website as well as the Google My Business page?
Sure. Well, you hear a lot of these guys and, occasionally I'll go to an SEO conference and I've been over to Google and visit their campus, which is, of course, amazing. But you listen to some of these people talk and they make it sound so complicated. You hear about the Google algorithms and all these things. But ultimately, it's common sense. It's about marketing and the core of that hasn't really changed. And so you need to write copy. You need to, when you're doing meta tags, when you're doing descriptions, when you're doing website content, there's a way to impact the local presence without making it into a bunch of junk that doesn't connect with the visitor. So it's always got to be about relevancy. And every page on your website can have a certain relevancy. So you can capitalize on it if you're thinking not only optimization, but also thinking about providing good content for your clients.
So are you talking about relevancy as far as each page is designed for one keyword, or maybe one zip code? Do you have to create a new page for each one of those?
To some degree, yes. I don't know if I want to go as far as zip code, though it may work. It's the content on the site and the way you optimize it, and the kind of title tags and meta tags and things that are put into the website that Google sees. It's basically the preview. If the preview is relevant to the content, then your chances of having a decent position is good. If it's not, if you're trying to scam it, Google's gotten pretty good at this nowadays, and they'll pick that up quickly, and you just don't show it all.
Right. So as far as a cosmetic surgeon, what kind of things are people searching for, and what kind of content do you have to include on those sites?
Sure. Well, one of the issues in most cosmetic surgery, med spas, any of these, or plastic surgeons, is that 99% of those types of businesses all do the exact same thing, and they offer the same services. So it's rare that there's anything unique. So it's really the way you present that information, but it also involves more. And this goes into something you mentioned about that I sent you as far as our holistic approach. Google was interested in things that, again, are relevant to search, and being able to build a wider net is really important. And that can include video, which is bigger and bigger. We're seeing a huge interest in search on YouTube, and it's in many ways, outpacing social media like Facebook. Email marketing is just a tool to drive business to your site, but it's still very relevant even today, even though people are more mobile. The key is making your emails mobile friendly as well. But all of it is just trying to create a world out there where things are pointing back to your website. And we build sometimes additional micro websites. We try to get them posted with articles and other information, other areas. And again, we talked about reviews. Reviews are huge, and finding ways to get those reviews legitimately, and then you can really maximize that. And it definitely impacts the way that Google looks at your business.
So reviews are extremely important. Now, with a lot of cosmetic companies out there have been doing SEO for a number of years and have put a lot of money into marketing because they do charge a fair price for their services. How do you go about looking at that competition and just being able to compete if you're taking on a new business?
Sure. Well, one of the things I tell my clients, and we practice as well, is don't worry about the competition. It's the easiest way to spend money and to make mistakes, because all you're doing is duplicating their mistakes. I've been doing this way too long, and I've done that in the past and realized it was the stupidest thing I could have done. The idea is to create your strategy look at what you can offer to clients. And we don't solicit business. We're small, you would call boutique agency. And we want to stay that way. I'm not looking to build a huge company. I'm, in my 60s now, early 60s, and I don't want to build this giant company. I want clients that are quality clients that we can work with for years. And I have clients we've been working with 15 years. Being able to get deeper into our clients, understanding their business, their model, where their weaknesses are, and then for us to be able to provide them with the tools they need to make them successful. And so each client we look at individually. We don't have a fixed approach, and we really don't worry about the competition. And that's only led to success for us.
Great. So how do you stand out? How do you get somebody to pick your client versus, the other 20 results on the search engine results page?
Sure. Well, that goes down to the core of marketing. And like I said, I've been doing marketing since the 80s. And the key is getting into the client's head. In a way, it was probably very helpful when I used to design print ads. We were very restricted in what we could say as far as content because there wasn't a lot of room. So you had to have a catchy headline. You had to have content that was something that would trigger a reaction. And that type of direct response mentality is certainly part of what we apply when we're creating the content in the meta tags and description tags that show up in Google search to try and stimulate a response.
So you really have to be, very purposeful in your copy to really catch people's attention. And does that help those kinds of calls to action or, words on the page? Do they stick out even if you're in the 7th position versus the 1st?
To some degree. I mean, top of page is still top of page and has a lot of strength to it. People only read so much. But if you look at search, you can often tell where the copy has been optimized just to be optimized and where there's actually some messaging going on. The key is, you have to reach out to some degree to the potential customer's pain. What is it why are they searching for this? What is it that they need? What are they looking for? Do you talk about costs? Do you talk about speed of recovery? Do you talk about the change of self-esteem? It depends on what the service is and also, how we build our certain pages in order to be able to focus on that.
Mm-hmm. And how do you get into, the mind of that client? Is that something that you need to get from the business owner, or is that through your own research in working within this industry?
It's a little bit of both. We find that certain markets, the client may be different. There may be other challenges. Oftentimes it's failure that teaches you the best lessons. And where you see you've done something that should be effective and it's not, now you really have to question that. And it's, instead of just saying, well, we just keep on doing this, what are we doing wrong? And then doing a really in-depth interview with our clients really helps to understand their patients better. Sometimes they don't know, honestly. Mm-hmm. But if we challenge them enough, it starts to come out. They're like, well, yeah, a lot of people said this or that, whatever it was. And that'll provide us sometimes with insights. I've been doing this a long time. I understand the market, especially the medical side, really, really well. When we get into other industries, whether it be insurance or furniture or transportation, whatever, which we have clients in. I have to dig a little bit deeper into the mentality of the current client.
So as far as if you're setting up SEO for a new client in the cosmetic surgery industry, how long does it generally take for them to see some kind of results from the SEO that you do for them?
Sure. It can take, 2-3 months, sometimes longer, depending on the market. What you can do in Texas versus New York, is obviously very different. But every market has its own peculiar nature to it. So, if we're taking somebody who's just starting from scratch, that's one approach. If we're taking somebody who's been around, we recently, in the last year and a half, took a client who was in Beverly Hills in a very competitive market, and they were dead in the water. They'd used a very large agency out of L.A. It was doing nothing. They had other issues. And we completely spun that ship around where they're competing both organically and with paid search very well, and they're just killing it now. Probably took closer to 6 months organically. We, in the meantime, had done enough with the other tools that we have, video, email, and PPC, to be able to get their motor going and get their enthusiasm going so that they continue with us. And now they think we're the greatest thing on the planet.
Yeah, I bet. What does that mean for a business? What I imagine in a market like Beverly Hills, there's, a lot of plastic surgeons over there, and there's a lot of business over there. What does it mean to be, dead in the water to all of a sudden being found?
Well, it could be millions of dollars. Because of the type of practices, especially when you get into physicians' practices, they're still small organizations. They may be somewhere from a 1 to tops a $15 million group typically. And so we can get a lot more intimate with the owner. And one of the things we ask them sometimes is just how busy you want to be. All right. It sounds like a stupid question, but it's important. Where are they in their career? Are they young and ready to take on the world? Are they later in their career where, they want to just stay steady and they want to make a good living, but they don't want to have to kill themselves anymore? Everybody's different in that approach. And if you are truly concerned for the client, not just trying to upsell, you need to ask those questions of your client and where they see the business, and then build it to be as efficient as possible for them.
Mm-hmm. And what about fears? What fears do these cosmetic surgeons or other companies that you work with have about, starting up with a new company and, just paying to have this marketing done? What kind of holds them back?
Well, the ones that have been around, they've been burned typically, and the fear is that, 6 months from now that they won't be any better off, which is, legitimate concern for anyone that's hiring a new company to do their marketing for them. Cost is always an issue. We're not inexpensive. We're not, crazy through the roof, but we provide a very personal touch. We run into clients that are process heavy, and because of their previous experiences, they're really into reports. But the irony is that the reports they get, they most of the time don't have any idea what they really mean. And so when we tell them that we're not going to provide them with monthly reports, some of them balk at that, or have, scheduled meetings every 2 weeks that they won't show up for 90% of the time. I explain to them, I'm saving you time and money. because it's a waste. I would rather take the client any day, and we do this, with clients when it's important to do it. And we do an online meeting where we do a screen share, and I walk them through the analytics. I show them the data in a way where I can actually explain it to them. If I send them the reports, it just sits, in their computer, or they print it out, 400 pages of junk, and they have no idea what they're looking at. It's a frozen moment in time, and the internet is much more complex than that. So we don't believe in wasting time. We believe in getting right down to brass tacks, and our measure is their success. Either they're doing better or not how many visits we got them.
Right. I mean, ultimately, it's how often that phone is ringing and how many of those calls are booking into new business is the measure that they are looking for, not, what rank they have on the internet at one specific moment in time. And I think even with that, you've got the mobile results, you got Wi-Fi results, you got desktop results. So, that kind of reporting now is almost obsolete in many cases.
Sure. I mean, your leads come from so many different places. They can come from social media. They can come from YouTube. They can come from Instagram and, Facebook and all these other things. Of course, we generate a lot, again, with email when the clients have good databases. It's really remarkably positive still. But all of it comes down to quality of leads. And that's something that I spend a lot of time with the clients as well. I don't care if you had, 150 calls and 50 consults. If a lot of it's junk, then we've done the wrong thing. All right. So, the quality of those leads is the most critical part. Everything else is secondary to that. So we don't get too wrapped up in numbers. If it's not converting into quality business, and sometimes our clients, they go after the wrong thing. All right, they're bottom feeding to get calls and leads, whether it be a Groupon or something that generates a lot of people to come through the door, but they're terrible. They have no loyalty. They don't pay enough to even justify the service half the time, and they don't come back. They go to the next deal.
Right. That's not exactly the client that you're looking for. What should a company be asking if they're looking for a business like yours to take over their digital marketing campaign for them? What should they be asking? What kind of quality check questions in there, would you say?
Well, I think the most important thing is to ask to be able to talk to clients. We make clients available. If you're successful, you have raving fans as clients. And I can, send people to talk to my clients, ask them about the experience, and to appreciate that really helps a great deal, and often is the thing that pushes them over. Again, most of my leads, like 99.9%, are all referrals anyway. The only cold leads I get are for our web video production services, where people come in and they got just projects. They want to shoot a video for an event, for a new video for their website, whatever. So they've come to me already referred from someone who's had success with us. So I kind of just take them through the process, tell them what we need from them, what's important to focus on. And at the same time, typically when I start asking them the right questions, the light bulbs come on and they start to see the way we approach things versus many of these other companies.
So it's just being able to really trust the new company that you are working with, and that is done through a consultation. Is that what you do at the start with them?
Yes. Well, oftentimes I'll have multiple conversations. I've had guys that, a guy up in Connecticut, it took him 6 months. We would talk, and he was nervous, and there was a lot of reasons for it. And I just continued to counsel him, and at no charge, until he was ready. Now, I don't do that with everybody. I just knew he needed that hand-holding. But clients figure out pretty quickly that we have a great deal of business experience. I've run companies. It's not where I'm a 26-year-old kid who knows how to code right and build a pretty site. That's great. You need those. I have people work for me for that. But when you need somebody really to give you answers on all types of business decisions, and we get deeper, we get into staffing, we get into their in-office technology, all of these things, maybe a remix in the way they offer their services. So all of that is provided as part of what we do. And when they start to see that and understand that, I'm going to give them straight answers. I can be pretty blunt, and either they like that or they don't. And the ones that do appreciate that and understand that they're going to get a straight and sincere answer from me on anything. And so it works out pretty well.
Well, great. Sometimes there's no substitute for experience, and having somebody that has been there and done that and made the mistakes and knows what to do is extremely important and comforting. So, Lou, if somebody is listening to this and they want to reach out to you to help them with their business, what is the best way for them to do that?
Well, our website is lamanagementco.com. That's lamanagementco.com for LA Management Company. We also have our 800 number, 1-800-651-7818. It's 1-800-651-7818. And our local is 704-560-6274. And we're happy to do analysis of their current website and positioning, and then provide them with solutions that would make sense for their particular business.
Excellent. Well, Lou Amico, thank you very much for being my guest on the Trust Factor Radio today.
Well, I enjoyed it, Neil. It was a pleasure talking with you.
And to our listening audience, if you like what you hear, hit that like button and share, and we'll see you next time on the show.
You've been listening to the Trust Factor Radio with Neil Howe. To learn about the resources mentioned in the show and to listen to past episodes, go to thetrustfactorradio.com. To get a copy of the book, The Trust Factor, go to thetrustfactorbook.com. If you are ready to act now and build your authority, credibility, and trust, schedule a consultation with Neil at theauthorityarchitect.com.